Hey everybody, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon White with only one Paris was an insanely brutal solo run. Let's follow that up with a fun team run. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Gold with a team of only Bug-type Pokemon. This one isn't too hard to explain, it's just a run where we can only use Bug-type Pokemon. The challenge is mostly that this is long before there were many good Bug-type moves, so it's hard to really take advantage of the same type attack bonus. Plus, we're weak against a lot of very common types. On the upside though, there are a lot of Bug-type Pokemon in Gen 2, so we have a wide variety of Pokemon to pick from. Half of the fun is just whittling down the list to 6 Pokemon to make a really fun team. Plus, this challenge was picked by you guys in a poll over on Patreon. You can find my Patreon linked in the description of all of my videos. You can pledge literally just $1 a month if you want to, and you get all of these videos early, as well as the ability to vote on polls to pick the upcoming challenges. Like always, I'm reading the script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. There's some pretty solid Bug-type Pokemon in this game, but we might have a real problem with flying and fire types. I think beating Lance is possible, but beating Red at the end might take a real long time. Let's explain the rules. In combat, we can only use Bug-type Pokemon. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chikorita with Heracross so that we can do the whole run with it. I decided to start with Heracross because it saves us some time later on headbutting trees, but it also makes the Flying Gym at the start more interesting since we're double weak to flying. Anyway, early game travel is obviously quick and easy since Heracross is a beast when it comes to its stats, although we don't get any bug moves until our 50s when we get Mega Horn. I was actually considering starting with Pinsir because I just love Pinsir, but in this game it's pretty much just Heracross but worse. It learns no bug moves, and its stats are pretty much the same, so there's just no point. I'm just gonna go clear out Bellsprout Tower and fight some trainers before I go to the Flying Gym. Since I expect that I'll get one-shot by stuff like Peck and Gust when I get there if I don't level up, I'm gonna need to grind at least a little bit. So we do get to the Flying Gym at level 12, and it's a good thing that we did grind, because I bet we'd have fainted if we were level 11. Pidgey is a one-shot, and Pidgeotto is just hardly a two-shot. We would have been a two-shot for him for sure, so if we'd gone here at level 11, then I think we would have left him with a Sliver, and he would have just taken us out. Hey, it's already time to catch our next Pokemon. I rush right past Slowpoke Well and go into the Ilex Forest so that I can catch something new, a Paris. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, and we actually get to evolve it for once. Obviously, I'm getting it mostly because it learns Spore, and that's an amazing move. There are other bug Pokemon here, but nothing that I really specifically want right now. Yeah, I can headbutt some trees to catch some more stuff, but I won't have headbutt until after I beat the Bug Gym and the rival fight, so that's gonna have to wait a little while. Actually, I have 2 Pokemon that I want to catch after those battles, so let's go make some progress. First up is the Bug Gym. Metapod and Kakuna were both pretty easy, as I'm sure you could expect, but we ended up getting our Heracross poisoned, so that's really not good. As Scyther came out, I sent in Paris to paralyze it, and although it went down fast, we were able to send in Heracross to lay in some heavy hits. He actually never missed a turn to paralysis, but he went for quick attack every single turn, so he got around being slower than us. Because of that, he never tried to build up a Fury Cutter. We ended up with a close victory. Oof, I should have seen this coming though. I got to the rival fight, but I kind of forgot that he opens with a Ghost, and we have no moves that can hit him. Okay, what do you think is a better solution? Running out of power points with Heracross and using Struggle, or using the TM for Fury Cutter? I mean, he resists Fury Cutter, but we do have Crazy Attack, so it might still work after it builds power? I'll try that first. So I tried a few times, but the problem is that we always get put to sleep and paralyzed a ton. That just ends up breaking up our Fury Cutter, so that it doesn't build power. The one time I managed to get past Ghastly anyway, we just get wrecked by Quilava. I think I'll just need to go spend some time wasting all my power points, then come back. Alright, it took quite a while to run out of power points, and we leveled up a bunch in the process, but it worked great. We took his whole team out pretty quickly with Struggle with a good amount of health left. Now let me go grab the TM for Headbutt because we have a new Pokemon to catch. Okay, time for 2 new Pokemon. First, I headbutt trees for ages to get a Pineco. I'm actually kind of surprised I've never used this guy in one of these runs before. It's a tanky bug type that'll evolve later to become part steel type. It's also got pretty good attack. It's super weak to fire, but other than that, it's hard to make faint. It should be a fun addition to the team. Plus, it learns Explosion, and Explosion is a very fun move in team runs. It's kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card on individual Pokemon that brick wall us. After that, I went to the national park and entered the bug catching contest so that I could get my hands on a Scyther. This is actually the highest scoring Pokemon that you can catch in the contest, although a lot of the scoring on the contest is a little bit arbitrary. In general, though, we can get more points the higher the stats of the Pokemon is, and the more health that our catch has left when we catch it. So having good IVs and more health are a big deal. We actually ended up winning the contest and getting a Sunstone that we have no use for. It's kind of cool, though. I mean, you pretty much always win if you catch a Scyther, so I guess that's to be expected. Alright, let's go try the normal gym. So, first up is Clefairy, who uses Mimic to learn Quick Attack off our Scyther, then decides to never use it. Genius move. Instead, she was using Metronome, and it was giving her some real duds like Bone Meringue. That can't even hit us since we're part Flying type. Second is Miltank, so I switched to Paris to use Stun Spore. We fainted pretty early, but we got a Stun Spore in, so that's what matters. I sent Heracross in, and Rollout is really dangerous since we're all really weak to Rock type. But our headbutts get a flinch pretty early, so we're able to halt her Rollout and get the knockout. Not a bad first try. Okay, we could go right to the Ghost Gym if we wanted, but I decided to go all the way to the route before the Lake of Rage instead. This is where we can catch a Venonat. I love Venonat and Venomoth, so this is a great excuse to pick one up. We could have gotten one in the bug contest, but then we wouldn't have Scyther, and I feel like Scyther's more important to get early, you know? We can catch Venonats in the park in general, but only in Crystal, so we had to wait till this point. It'll probably help us in the Ghost Gym if I level it up enough. I'm just happy to have it at this point, though. So, first try at the Ghost Gym. It starts with our new Venonat being able to take out Ghastly with Confusion easily, after he used Curse to drop his own health. So, obviously, we switch as Haunter came out to get rid of the Curse. We paralyzed him with Paris, he cursed Paris, we switched back to Venonat, he missed a Hypnosis, then he took himself out with another Curse. It was great. Problem is that third is Gengar and we're hardly hurting him. I used Pursuit for a little while with Scyther, but it didn't do as much as I had hoped for. Then we fainted fast as he started using Dream Eater. I sent Venonat back in, but that wasn't doing much either, so we went down in 1 Dream Eater. Those were our only 2 Pokemon that can hit ghosts, so I think I'm gonna have to go grind for a little while. So I grinded up a few levels on Venonat and Scyther, but it really didn't help much. We still often just lose just due to falling asleep fast. We can hardly do any damage to his Gengar. It makes me think that I'm gonna have to seriously level more. Maybe I need to get Venonat to level 31 to make it evolve. I think I should probably get a few more levels on Paris too, since once we level it up enough that it doesn't get one-shot, we could Stun Spore, and then things might turn around. Wow, the moment Venonat evolved into Venomoth, it was a night and day difference. The first 2 Pokemon were just a sweep. Gengar can still beat us with Dream Eater, but on the 3rd try, he just used Mean Look, and we 2-shot him. And the last Haunter survived with a Sliver, but he also only used Mean Look, so we won incredibly easily. Now that we can use Surf outside of battle, it's time to get our last member of our team. We go ahead and pick up our free Shuckle. It does almost no damage, but it's also the tankiest Pokemon in the entire game, so it's perfect for stalling. Plus, we're not using it in a solo run for once, so it's actually worth giving it something like Toxic, so we can be really mean with it. We don't get Toxic until Kanto though, so it's only gonna really help us near the end of the run. Still, a fun Pokemon, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some use out of it. Let's see if we stand a chance at the upcoming Fighting and Steel gyms. I can't imagine it'll be easy. I'm gonna have to do some grinding for sure, my team is falling behind. Alright, so first is the Fighting Gym, and this one was crazy easy. Primeape at the start could hardly hurt Scyther, even with him critting his Fury Swipes over and over, so we took him out in a bunch of hits of Quick Attack. Then Poliwrath had the worst luck in the universe, as our first hit of Confusion managed to confuse him, and he hit himself twice in a row, so he never even got to try and do a move on us. That was crazy easy. We're gonna instantly fail at the Steel Gym though, right? We're not a high level, and I don't have any answer for Steel types. Yeah, that's what I thought. We're hardly able to take out the first Magnemite after half of our team fainting, then the rest fainted to Steelix. I'm really not sure what the right move here is. Do I put Dig on Paris and grind it up a ton? Or would it just be too slow for that to be the right move? Nearly my whole team can learn Rock Smash, and that could help, but it's also just a really weak 20 power move in this game, so it's not like it's gonna win us the fight without a long grind. I decided to just go do the Rocket Hideout to get some levels. I figured that clearing this place out, then beating the Ice Gym, and then grinding a whole lot will be the right move. I'm absolutely gonna level Paris a ton and teach it Dig since I think that's our best shot. Spore and Dig. Now mind you, Dig isn't the best move combo with a sleep move, since wasting a turn isn't a good idea when they're already asleep, but is the best we've got. I'm also going to put Mud Slap on Shuckle so that I could possibly use it to mess up the accuracy of Steelix, although we might just feint to Iron Tail really early, it's hard to say. We're insanely tanky, but Iron Tail is a strong move and Shuckle is weak against Steel type, so I could see that going either way. We might just get one shot. Well, I guess we'll have to grind a ton and then find out. Oh, check this out! Scyther evolved into Scizor. So in the randomizer, I turned on the option to allow impossible evolutions. You guys always say to put that one on. Normally, Scyther has to be traded with a metal coat to evolve, so I kinda thought I would have to level it up while holding a metal coat to evolve it. But no, turns out we just have to hit level 30 for it to happen, so we evolved earlier than I expected. That's pretty cool. So I go to the Ice Gym, and right away we had an easy time with Seal by just using Spore with our newly evolved Parasect, although Scratch is still really weak by this point in the game. Second is Dugong, so I used our new Scizor to fight it. It took ages because of him using Rest and us not really having that strong of moves, but he could hardly hurt us, so we still won pretty easily, although we lost speed in the process. Last is Piloswine, but he started off by using Mist, getting rid of our debuffs, so we're now faster. I have no idea why he did that. We actually ended up taking a good amount of damage, but we took him out before too long. I'm kind of worried about my chances at the Steel Gym, though. If Parasect is faster than Magnemites, then I'm sure we could one-shot them, but if not, they might mess us up too much before the Steelix fight. I'll grind our Shuckle up a little bit and then give it a try. Back at the Steel Gym, and our Parasect is slower than our first Magnemite, but we don't take too much damage, and we get a one-shot, so it's fine. We get really lucky at the start of the Steelix fight, and it misses some Iron Tail, so we got a couple of Mud Slaps in, but as soon as we got hit, we got one shot. Because of that, the only Pokemon on our team that could stand a chance pretty quickly gets taken out. I kinda figured this might happen. It doesn't really take too long to grind up Shuckle with an experience share since it counts as a traded Pokemon, gets an XP boost because of that. I'll grind it up a little bit more, get a few levels in Parasect, and also try to paralyze Steelix with Stun Spore next time. I figure that might help. Alright, a few levels later and I'm trying again. The first Magnemite is still easy just like before, but the real threat here is Steelix. This time we paralyze him with Venomoth, sacrificing it early but giving us a speed advantage and the chance of her missing some turns. Because of that, we get 5 Mud Slaps instead of just 2, making her accuracy so much worse. I sent in Parasect to spam Dig, and thanks to her Hyper Potion, she held on for ages. We actually survived an Iron Tail reasonably early on, but eventually we got hit with a second one to faint. Thankfully, she had almost no health left by then, so I could just finish her off with a headbutt from Heracross. Last is her final Magnemite, and our Heracross fainted before we could fully finish the fight, but we still had Scizor, so I was able to take it out in a few quick attacks. Man, I'm so happy the Scyther evolved, or we'd have been weak to electricity right now. In fairness, I'm sure Pineco could have handled it. Our Pineco does have pretty great attack. Alright, now that we're past that massive roadblock, we have 2 huge fights coming up. We have a rival fight that usually isn't too bad, but then we have the Dragon Gym, and you never really know how that one's gonna go. I figure that as long as we really invest heavy in high attack Pokemon like Heracross and Pineco, then we could probably brute force the fight. I'm thinking one-shotting the Dragonairs might be really important just to avoid getting paralyzed, but then again, it's Gen 2, so their effect moves do have a built-in miss chance, so we might be able to get away with being slower. I guess we'll have to see when we get there. So first is our rival, and this took a few tries. Golbat opens great with us confusing it off Confusion. It hit itself, then we took it out right after. But second is Quilava, so we have to be careful. I decided to send in Shuckle to spam Mud Slap. We missed thanks to some smoke screens, but by the time we ran out of Mud Slaps, we easily switched to Parasect and used Dig to take it out pretty fast. Magnemite was also easy with Dig, All it did was use Sonic Boom, and next is Haunter, who got hit by Confusion, then took itself out with Curse. Last is Sneasel, and it did pretty good damage to our Heracross by using Screech, then some quick attacks, but we still took it out just fine. It took a couple of tries to figure out how to get past Quilava, but that wasn't too bad. How will the Dragon Gym go, though? So this one took a couple tries, but this attempt started great, with the first Thunder Wave failing, and us getting a flinch on the second turn, so we were able to easily headbutt down the first Dragonair. The second one did paralyze us, but only as we were taking it down, so we were still pretty healthy. The second one hit a bunch of Ice Beams to bring us all the way down to only 2 health, but we still managed to make it faint. This is going great. Last is Kingdra, so I sent in Venomoth to paralyze her and spam Psybeam. She lowered our accuracy and hit a Hyper Beam, but we were still hanging on. Once her health was low, but not low enough for a Hyper Potion, I switched to Fortress and used Self-Destruct to make sure I could finish her off without her surviving with a Sliver to then use like some kind of Hyper Potion. It worked. We got a pretty easy win. We have one rival fight left before the Elite Four. First up is Sneasel, who's obviously no match for our Scizor, especially now that we have Slash and can easily two-shot it, but second is Typhlosion. Thankfully, the TM for Earthquake is in Victory Road, so we have that now. We actually had a speed tie when using Heracross, so he used Smokescreen, we hit Earthquake, and then we went first on the next round and took him out on the next hit. Golbat was next and Psybeam was doing well, but Confuse Ray did really mess us up. We took him out, but we lost most of our health in the process. Magneton was a one-shot with Earthquake, and next is Haunter, who was also a one-shot. Last is Kadabra, but of course he was another one-shot with Earthquake. Easy win. Now that we're the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. Well, it's a solid team, but I don't see how we can win until we level up way more. We're a way lower level than Lance's team, and they all have flying types. We have no ice or electric moves. We have that TM for rollout though, so we can at least give it to Fortress and maybe that'll help. I really doubt that we can make it to Lance until the team is at least in the level 40s though, so I'm gonna do a big grind and then give it a try. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Psychic Trainer Will. First is Xatu, and on my first try I wanted to use Rollout, but because he always uses Confuse Ray, I realized it wasn't gonna work. So this time I used Scizor, and although I did hit myself in Confusion and lose a lot more health than I would like because of that, we still took him out fast. The second one was a much bigger issue, making Scizor faint and nearly making our Parasect faint as well before we could put him to sleep and slash him down. As Jinx came out, we finally got to start using Rollout with Fortress, and it took her down incredibly fast, and next is Executor. We should have won, but we missed Rollout early and he put up a Reflect, so I just used Explosion to power through and one-shot him with a crit. Last is Slowbro, and this was a mess. He kept using Curse, and none of our moves were doing almost any damage, even after Reflect wore off. I was worried we'd lose, but eventually we won with some headbutts after most of our team fainted. It was close, but it was a win. Second is Poison Trainer Koga. This took a good 5 tries. Ariados is first, and he often opens with Double Team, so it's kind of random on how Rollout goes. But on this try, we land 3 hits to get a knockout. Second is Venomoth, who misses Supersonic, then gets one shot. And third is his own Fortress, who uses Protect to shut down our Rollout. I ended up using Bide over and over to get him down to low health, and eventually, he blew up to take us down to only 1 health, 4 after we leveled up. I switched to Heracross as Muck came out to easily two-shot it with Earthquake, and last is Crobat, the Pokemon that made me fail this the last 4 times I tried. He started spamming Double Team and we paralyzed him right away with Stun Spore, then started using Psybeam. I was planning on just fighting until we faint, then switching to Fortress to hope Explosion hits, but we ended up just making him faint no problem. That was nice. Third is Fighting Trainer Bruno. First is Hitmontop, so I have Heracross spam Earthquake. I was hoping he'd use Dig, but he just quick attacked, so we took a bit of damage, but that's alright. Second is Hitmonchan, and I was worried about his Fire Punch, so I sent in Shuckle to spam Mud Slaps. It worked great because his mock punches weren't doing much, so we could just rest and stay healthy. We ended up totally ruining his accuracy, so I could switch to Venomoth to use Psybeam a couple times to take him out. Onyx was next, so I sent in Heracross to Earthquake it down in 2 hits as he started a Sandstorm. And next is Hitmonlee, so I just kept using Earthquake to nearly one-shot him, as his double kick wasn't doing much. He crit part of it though, so between that and the Sandstorms, we got pretty hurt before he finished him off. Last is Machamp, so I put him to sleep with Spore, as he used Foresight for no particular reason, and we just slashed him down in a few hits, no problem. He did heal up, but he only woke up right near the end to hit a big rock slide. We still hung on and finished him off. Fourth is Dark Trainer Karen. First is her Umbreon, and this thing is always a nightmare because of Sand Attack, so I had Heracross use some Fury Cutters. Despite getting Sand Attacked 3 times, we only missed once when we went to switch to Headbutt. We hit ourselves in confusion after his Confuse Ray, and got Sand Attacked again though, so I switched to Scizor to slash down. Houndoom is next, and it's frail, but it's also crazy strong with Flamethrower, so I sent in Shuckle to Mud Slap it. I used Roar right away to switch us to Parasect, so I tried to put her to sleep, but we got outsped in one shot with a Flamethrower. I sent Shuckle back in, hit another Mud Slap, but then she used Roar again. It failed this time, so I just kept going with Mud Slaps. We ran out early though, so I hit Safeguard, rested to heal up, and she roared to send in Scizor. I went for Slash, but she hit another Flamethrower to one-shot us. I really wish the accuracy drops would kick in already. Out to our Heracross, and finally a Flamethrower misses, so we land a one-shot with Earthquake. Vileplume is next, so I just stay in to use Earthquake for solid damage as her Petal Dance wasn't doing much. I hit a huge Headbutt, she hits us one more time, then we finished off with another Earthquake. Next is Gengar, so we just one-shot it with our last power point of Earthquake, after it hit a weak lick that thankfully didn't paralyze us. And last is Murkrow, so we landed a huge Headbutt, Feint Attack did almost nothing to us, and one last Headbutt to knock her out. Not bad. Finally, the Pokemon Champion Lance. First is Water Onix, and he always makes it rain, so we hit Spore with Parasect and keep on slashing. It went perfectly, with him staying asleep long enough that we never took damage. Second is Dragonite though, and although it's crazy dangerous and made us lose a few times already, on this one, it just kept trying for Thunder Wave and failing. It got it eventually and hit us with Hyper Beam twice, so we did faint, but we were able to send in Scizor to easily finish it off. Problem is, after that is Charizard, who outspeeds us and one-shots our whole team other than Shuckle, who can't fight back. Yeah, obviously this is not happening yet. Well, we have rare candies, and we can't get any better moves to deal with this, so I think it's time that we use them. Let's get our whole team up to level 45 to be closer to their level, then give it another try. I figure we'll have to be closer to level 50 before we stand a chance. So I try 5 more levels later. The whole first 2 Pokemon still go more or less the same, but this time I was able to paralyze Charizard so that Fortress was able to 2-shot it with a rollout, just thanks to the luck of a full paralyze. Problem is, after that is Dragonite and it's got Fire Blast, so we just get swept. Yeah, we're still not even close to a win yet. I'll try again at level 55, but I'm starting to think we'll have to be closer to level 60 if we're actually gonna beat both Charizard and the Fire Blast Dragonite. Well, we have a team of mostly kinda slow Pokemon. Okay, a few tries in at level 55. Water Onix is still easy, and we're outspeeding and putting the first Dragonite to sleep. On this try, it stayed asleep until we took it out, so he's sending in Aerodactyl next. I didn't have a great answer, so I sent in Heracross hoping that I could do something with Reversal, and it worked great. Wing Attack brought us to super low health, so our Reversal got a one-shot. That Aerodactyl probably could have swept a lot of our team if that didn't work. Charizard is next, so we outsped and used Spore to put him to sleep, then switched to Fortress to start rollout. It stayed asleep, and we took it out really fast. I think we might stand a chance this time. Next is the second from last Dragonite, so I switched to Venomoth and paralyzed him right away. It fully paralyzed him, and I started using Psychic. We got hit by a Fire Blast fast, but we hung on and just kept attacking, this time with Sludge Bomb. A second Fire Blast took us out, but his health was so low that we could send in Scizor to finish him off with Slash. Last is his final Dragonite, so I sent Fortress in to use Explosion. He got us with Thunder Wave, but we blew up, one-shotting him and getting us the win. With that victory, we get into the Hall of Fame and win the run, but you know it's not over yet. Gen 2 has all of Kanto in the post-game, including 8 gym battles and a secret final boss fight with Red. 7 of those 8 gym battles are super easy since they're weaker than the Elite Four, so we're gonna skip ahead to the next real challenge, Blue. On our way though, we picked up the TM for Toxic as well as both of the leftovers. I figure those are must-haves. First is Pidgeot, so I sent in Fortress to use spikes from the start, but he was smart. He used Mirror Move to put spikes on us too. I started rolling out right away and start doing some damage. It was great right off the bat, but he used Whirlwind to send in Shuckle. I had no moves that could hit him, so I had to switch to Scizor to tank a couple of hits of Wing Attack and finish him off with Slash. Well, that could have gone better. Out to Heracross as his Arcanine came out, and of course we were both hurt by spikes. Our Earthquake did huge damage, but he hung on with red health and hit Flamethrower to almost take us out. He used a full restore, but we were spamming Earthquake to take him back down to low health. He used 2 full restores, outspeeds us with extreme speed, we land with 1 health, then finish him off. That was so close. Out to Scizor as Alakazam comes out, and I tried for double team, but Psychic brings us to low health, and he hits twice, so we just faint. I had to send in Fortress to start rollout instead. We were taking more damage than I was expecting though, and he went down fast to a crit. That's bad. With not many options left, I sent in Parasect to nearly faint to a Psychic before we hit Spore and started using Slash. We took him to a Sliver, he stayed asleep, then we finished him off. Next is Rhydon, so we put him to sleep and hit a Giga Drain to heal back up. It was a crit, so we one-shot him and got a ton of health back, nearly fully healing. After that is Water Onix, so we put him to sleep right away and used Giga Drain to finish healing, then kept using Slash. He went down before he could wake up. Last is his Executor, so I sent in Shuckle to spam Mud Slap for safety. He used Leech Seed early, so it's not like any of the damage was sticking, but that's okay. I was just doing it to ruin his accuracy. We fainted after Solar Beam, then I sent in Venomoth who did great damage with a critical Leech Life. Then we switched to Sludge Bomb to take him out. That went great! Now it's time to go get swept by Red's Charizard. So I got to Red at the same level and tried it, knowing that we'd be doomed, but it'd be funny to sometimes see how doomed we are. Now, we got really unlucky at the start and got paralyzed off Thunder, but we took out Pikachu anyway just because his Pikachu is terrible and we have Earthquake. He's got like 25 levels on us and we still took him out so fast. Weirdly enough, he sent in Venusaur second, so I just stayed in and kept using Megahorn. Such a weird Pokemon, why would he send out Venusaur second? Even with us being paralyzed, we still just won because he kept going for Solar Beam. I don't know why he didn't do Sunny Day then Solar Beam. After that though is Charizard, and obviously it outspeeds and sweeps our entire team. That's kind of what I figured. I have no idea why he didn't just send out Charizard second. I'm gonna Rare Candy the team up to level 65, and then the real attempts can start. So I try again with a team at level 65. Pikachu is still easy, and this time I beat Venusaur with Rollout with Fortress, hoping that I could build it up and roll into Charizard after, but he was faster and still swept the entire team. The only one who could survive was Shuckle, who at least hit Toxic and Flash once, but it didn't matter. You don't take poison damage on the same turn when you make something faint in Gen 2, so he would never even take the poison damage, just the spike damage. I don't think any of our team will outspeed Charizard until level 75, but I'll try at 70 just in case. So at level 70, we outspeed and one-shot Pikachu, and Venusaur never lands a hit, although it does use Sunny Day. Charizard then sweeps a bunch of our team thanks to still being faster, but we hit one Flash partway through, and then lucked out as his Flamethrower missed Fortress, so we could one-shot him with Explosion. I mean, that's cool, but we only have Heracross left. He sent an Espeon who was faster than us and used Reflect. We one-shot it with Megahorn, but because he has a Reflect up, we didn't do much damage to the Snorlax right after. Not only that, but he crit us with a Body Slam that also paralyzed us, then took us out right after. You know what, if we give it 5 more levels, then I think we can win. Yeah, I'll still need the luck of Flash getting Flamethrower to miss on Fortress, but that's not the worst thing in the world. I think that as long as I send Shuckle in the moment Charizard comes out, then we can have most of our team to help us fight off the rest of his. Maybe we stand a chance. Okay, so this one took 6 tries because I kept either missing Flash or getting burned, but the moment we hit Flash, we got him to miss Fortress with a Flamethrower, and we hit Explosion, so we're back in the game. Once again, Espeon uses Reflect, and we score our one-shot, then Snorlax comes out. This time I sent in Parasect to use Spore, then switched back to Heracross to just waste some time for Reflect to wear off. Then I started landing hits with Reversal and Megahorn, although Megahorn misses sometimes. It took a while because he started using rest to stay healthy, but eventually, we got the knockout with 75 health left. Last is Blastoise, and I stayed in to hit reversal, thinking I'd probably faint fast. We actually ended up surviving Surf with a sliver though, so our next reversal took him out. We had most of our team still left. That attempt went great. That was another really fun run. I love mono-type runs, they're always really interesting. It's always fun seeing what types do and don't have a hard time in each region. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Fire Red, with only one Teddy Ursa. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Alright, you'll remember 2 weeks ago, I was talking in the outro about how I was like switching some audio stuff, right? But then, if you read my pinned comment on that, you'll know that there was actually some problems with the audio, which was unrelated to me switching audio stuff, by the way. As I explained in that comment, it was just, in moving my mic cords, one of the mic cords, it went over top of a power line, and so I had some electrical interference that I had to get rid of, and it sounded really bad. I was able to get rid of most of it in the first half, and then I moved around some chords, not even noticing yet that the problem had happened, and that got rid of some of the interference, but not all of the interference. Then I go back to listen to it after, and there's interference. Oh, it sounded so bad. I was able to get rid of most of it though, so like you won't really notice it in the recording. So last week's run is actually the first run with that problem fixed and with my new audio settings. And I thought back in editing that it sounded pretty good. Today, I have another different audio thing. The settings are the same as last week, and I don't have the electrical interference going on. That was just a one-time thing. But right now, for this whole voiceover, I've been standing up. I'm craning my head down a little bit to look at one of my monitors because my monitor arm situation, it just doesn't raise it up very much. So I kind of have to like crane my head down a bit, and it's a little bit uncomfortable. But I'm interested if you can hear any difference and if I'll hear any difference when I'm editing this. Because one, I'm moving around a little bit more, so the mic discipline might not be quite as good, but I'm a very nasally person. I have really bad sinuses. I just always have. It's not an allergies thing. It's like a narrow nasal passageway kind of thing. It's the kind of thing that I think people get surgeries for nowadays, but I've just never looked into that really. I should probably discuss that with my doctor at some point. I just have so many other health things I gotta discuss. Anyway, so I've been standing this whole recording. I do feel like I can power through the nasaliness a lot better because standing up, I can take more air into my lungs. I can use my diaphragm better. I feel like it's easier to do the voiceover and I can bring more energy to it easier because I'm not so out of breath, you know? So I'm hoping it'll sound better. Now, this whole craning my neck down thing, that's painful. I'm not going to be able to do that every time, but I'm already looking into getting new mounts for my monitors. I have like a 3-monitor setup, and I have one of those like tri-arm monitor stands, and I've always had little problems with it. It does the job, but it's not very maneuverable. And it's got some problems because some of the monitors are bigger than other ones, so there's weight imbalances and whatever. It sucks. So I've been looking into just getting 3 desk-mounted individual stands, and it seems like that's a way better solution. So I'm not getting them right away because I have an app, like a Chrome extension called Keepa, and it's like a price tracker for Amazon, so you can see what the price of things over time have been. And it looks like the monitor stand thing I'm looking at, for about 1 week every month, it's $15 cheaper, and then they raise the price back up for like a few weeks, and then they lower the price back down $15 again. So I'm gonna wait until it's down those $15 because I gotta buy 3 of these things. Not cheap, but saving $45 on that plus the tax, I'm pretty much saving the price of an entire one of them if I wait for the price to go down before I buy it. And plus, it says that it's going to be like 1-day shipping once I buy it, so I'm just going to wait for the price to go down and then order them. So I don't know if I'm going to have them by the next voiceover. I have no idea. Getting a little bit of a headache craning my head down like this the whole time, but in the near-ish future, I'll be able to raise my monitor up with me, so I'm not just tilting it up at me and then looking down and doing a voiceover. So it'll probably be even better than it sounds right now in the near-ish future. Also, I hope you've been liking all the new advertisements I've been getting, the new sponsorships that I've been getting. I've been pretty happy with them. I really like Factor Meals. Factor Meals is so useful when I just need like easy meals I can throw together, because like I like cooking, but these are really nutritionally nice, balanced meals that I can just pop in the oven for a few minutes and have a really good meal. Makes it so much easier to do like streaming and stuff, knowing that I have a meal ready to go for me right after that isn't like super expensive. Takeout is super expensive. Factor Meals is a lot cheaper than that, so I really like Factor Meals. And the other week I did boot.dev. That was a new one that came at me out of nowhere, but as soon as it was pitched to me and I tried out their website a little bit, oh, it's really fun. And everybody knows, longtime viewers know, the only course I ever failed in school was programming. So I've always wanted to avenge 16-year-old me. So who knows? Maybe if I stick with it, I can learn just a little bit of programming. Well, we'll see how that goes. If any of you guys at home did end up checking out that sponsorship and you tried it yourself, let me know if you stick with it. Let me know if you end up taking an interest in programming because of it, because that would be pretty cool. Anyway, I gotta get editing this whole thing right away. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.